안녕하세요. Essential Korean Kaysem입니다. Hello, this is Kay from Essential Korean. In today's episode, we will discuss speech styles and speech levels with a question from one of our interns, Sin, based on a situation from the drama Strong Girl Bong-Soon. In the scene, the male lead says, 나 좀 사랑해줘, which means please love me. And the female actor replies, 하고 있어요, which literally means I am doing, or interpreted more naturally means I am loving you. Sin was wondering why the male leading actor didn't say something like 사랑해 주세요, knowing that both 나 좀 사랑해줘 and a phrase like 사랑해 주세요 ask for love. Excellent question, Sin. Before we go any further though, if you've been following this podcast for a while and or have attended my classes, you'll know I've dedicated full episodes specifically for speech levels and styles, and I often talk about speech styles and levels. So you may be wondering why I'm covering the topic again. More than anything, they are a fascinating aspect of the Korean language, and the concept pops up in every sentence in Korean. So I don't think you can ever be too much of an expert on the topic. Take it from me. I was interested enough in the concept to write my master's thesis on the topic in graduate school, where I compared the Korean speech styles and levels with similar aspects of the Japanese language. So there's one reason. I also believe that when you examine how speech styles and speech levels play out in Korean conversations, you will gain insights into how people relate to each other, how they arrive to their decision for which speech styles and level to use, and how they fluidly orient themselves in their professional and personal, as well as public and private domains. In short, examining the speech styles and levels in different situations will help us experience the dynamics and emotions at play and help us get an intuitive feel of Korea's language and culture. So I hope you welcome my enthusiasm for speech styles and speech levels with excitement. Speech styles and speech levels capture much of what I love when teaching Korean as a Korean teacher. I am lucky to be able to use my expertise to help learners see the psychology and emotions created by different linguistic elements that are often overlooked, underexplained, or sometimes unfortunately incorrectly explained. This topic in particular helps Korean learners understand language as not just a tool for communication, but also as a tool to shape relationships. Perhaps not surprisingly, this is also one of the most frequently asked topics I get when receiving questions from my students, as there are an infinite number of applications you make with these concepts. If you have any questions for me on speech levels or speech styles or any topic in general, feel free to ask them in the YouTube live stream I will be holding this Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the COEX C Studio in the heart of Gangnam, Seoul. I'll be also posting the best questions on our new Instagram page, essential_Korean, with credit to the original user who asked the question, so make sure to come with many questions. That was a lot of introduction. Now let's get on with the lesson, armed with our appreciation for speech levels and speech styles. Let's hear the full question from Sin in her own voice.
In the K-drama Strong Girl Bong-Soon, the male love interest says 나 좀 사랑해 줘, and Bong-Soon replies 하고 있어요.
Okay.
Now I wanted to know why he says 줘 at the end instead of 주세요, because I know they both mean please or give me, and I wanted to know, why he chooses 줘 over 주세요.
Now, let's listen to the few seconds of the exchange from the drama 힘센 여자 도봉순, or its English title, Strong Girl Bong-Soon. Be warned though, it's gonna sound a little dramatic.
나 좀 사랑해줘.
하고 있어요.
Oh well, it does sound quite dramatic, doesn't it? 나 좀 사랑해줘 means please love me, or more accurately, please love me for me. And her response, 하고 있어요 means I am loving you, or more literally means I am doing that. Sin's question is really an excellent question because it intrinsically calls for the two important linguistic concepts to understand, the speech styles as well as the speech level. They are two distinct linguistic aspects in the Korean language. To explain, I'll discuss a few terms. Please do not take the terms too literally though. Rather, consider them labels that represent the different forms for which we learn conjugation rules. Most importantly, we then learn the usage of those forms to use and adopt appropriately in communication. Under that premise, let's move on. First, let's use an analogy I made for students to better grasp the concept of speech levels and styles. Imagine two axes, one horizontal and the other vertical. Yes, you can imagine the x and y axis you've dealt with in your math class. Place two dots on the horizontal axis to represent the speaker and the hearer, and the distance between them is the proximity that the speaker places with the hearer. A certain degree of space represents courtesy as well as the level of intimacy, depending on the situation. On the other hand, the vertical axis represents the hierarchy between the speaker, the hearer, and whomever the speaker is referring to. If the agent or the actor linked with the verb is quote-unquote higher, the speaker will use what I refer to as honorific. If there is no particular reason to elevate the agent or actor, then the speaker will use the neutral form. Thus, the speaker's choice of speech style and speech level reveals their understanding of the relationships among the speaker, the hearer, and if applicable, the referent whose actions are described by the speaker. The difference between 사랑해줘 and 사랑해주세요 lies in both the speech style and speech level. 줘 is 반말, which in our Essential Korean curriculum is referred to as casual speech style or the intimate speech style. The casual speech style is compared with 존댓말, which again in our Essential Korean curriculum is referred to as polite speech style. Now, if we were to only change the casual speech style of 사랑해줘 to polite speech style while maintaining the speech level, we would go from 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요. In our previous analogy, this would be a horizontal movement along our x-axis. I'll repeat that one more time. 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요 is the change of the speech style, which we would visualize as a horizontal movement. Now, how would we get to 사랑해주세요 from 사랑해줘요? Well, we can first notice that both forms end in 요, which marks the polite speech style. That means their horizontal position is the same. The speech level, however, is different because 주세요 contains 세, which marks the honorific, an elevation of the speech style. Thus, we can visualize 사랑해줘요 to 사랑해주세요 as a vertical movement up our y-axis. To recap, 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요 is a change of speech style, while 사랑해줘요 to 사랑해주세요 is a change of speech level. What if we were comparing 사랑해줘 to 사랑해주세요? Well, it would be a diagonal movement both vertically and horizontally, since speech style and speech level become polite from casual and honorific respectively. Are you with me? Very good. Now let's see this with 3 other verbs to reinforce this concept. I'll use the verbs 읽다, to read, 오다, to come, and 쓰다, to write. Here comes the phrases with the first verb 읽다, to read. 읽어, read in 반말. 읽어줘, read for me. 읽어줘요, read for me in polite style. 읽어주세요, read for me in honorific level polite style. Here are the phrases with the second verb, 오다, to come. 와, come in 반말. 와줘, come for me. 와줘요, come for me in polite style. 와주세요, come for me in honorific level polite style. And here are the phrases with the third verb, 쓰다, to write. 써, write in 반말. 써줘, write for me. 써줘요, write for me in polite style. 써주세요, write for me in honorific level polite style. Having yo and not having yo at the end of the verb is the distance between the casual speech style and the polite style, which concerns the speaker and the hearer. I mean that if the speaker uses yo, which marks the polite style, they're being courteous to the hearer. If the speaker uses 반말, the casual/intimate speech style, it reveals that either they're in a close relationship or the speaker perceives their position to be higher than the hearer. If their relationship called for the polite style, the speaker would have said 사랑해줘요 in place of 사랑해줘. Although they're different in speech style, both 줘 and 줘요, which carries the meaning of give, are not different in hierarchy, which would be represented by the y-axis discussed earlier. On the other hand, 사랑해주세요 reveals that the speaker has placed the giver of love in a higher position than the receiver, in this case, the speaker. How? By using the honorific form of 주다, to give, from which 줘, 줘요, and 주세요 are conjugated. While the verb ending 요 signifies polite speech style, the 세 in 주세요 signifies the honorific level used to elevate the agent or the subject of the verb 주세요. Let me shed some more light on those two notions with one more example. If I am talking with my best friend, I will be using 반말, which reveals we are close. And when I'm talking with a friend about my grandparents, it will be appropriate for me to use honorific verbs to describe my grandparents' action. Thus, the distance between my friend and me on the horizontal axis is close. But on the vertical axis, my grandparents' actions have been placed higher than mine. On the other hand, if I'm talking with my teacher, I'll be using 존댓말, which reveals the respect I pay to my teacher. And when I'm talking about my grandparents' actions with the teacher, it will be appropriate for me to use honorific verbs to describe their actions. It is irrelevant to my relationship with the hearer. Thus, the distance between my teacher and me on the horizontal axis is longer than the distance between my friend and me. On the vertical axis, my grandparents' actions have been placed higher than mine, marked with honorific verbs. I would say that speech styles and levels are important because they affect the psychology, feelings, and emotions of the people you are engaged in communication with. To build desirable relationships with Koreans, adopting appropriate speech styles and levels is inevitable. Having said that though, don't stress over too much and don't be too self-conscious when speaking Korean because stress and self-filtering may hinder you from improving your Korean. And also, For sure, native speakers understand that using appropriate polite language for non-Korean speakers is difficult. Sometimes it's tricky for Koreans too. Yes, they may not be able to help their immediate feelings about the language they hear on the spot. That's with their right brain. But they will be able to rationalize and be forgiving with their left brain, as they will know inappropriate linguistic choices made by Korean learners at times will be interpreted as an error and no harms intended. So relax and speak Korean whenever you get a chance. Trusting that you are relieved from apprehension about not using proper speech styles and levels, I'll end today's lesson here. Before I let you go, let me tell you that I know Korean is a difficult language to learn. But you're not giving in to that. You're doing great. Ask me about your favorite dramas and I'll be prepared. Fighting! Study hard. I'll see you in 2 weeks.